When I teach knots on outdoor trips, there's a reason the first knot I teach is the bowline. It's quick to tie, it's easy to untie after being loaded, and it creates a standing loop at the end of the line, which proves useful in numerous situations. While it does have the potential to slip when not loaded, there are a slew of variations that make it a much more secure knot. It can either be tied free or around something, which is another quite handy feature. There are quite a few ways that people learn how to tie a bowline, but the way I learned involves a bunny. First, I'll demonstrate tying a bowline around something, as it's usually easier to visualize that way. Start by making a loop, making sure that the working end passes over the standing end. Pass the working end around or through your anchor and bring it back towards the loop. Here's where the bunny comes in. Remember, the bunny comes out of the hole, goes behind the tree, and back into the hole. To tighten, grab the working end and the loop in one hand, the standing end in the other, and pull. You should see a bite passing around your standing part and the working end on the inside of the loop. If your working end is on the outside of the loop, you've just tied what's known as a cowboy bowline, a variant that's useful if there's a possibility of ring loading, which is when there's more than one opposing force on the loop, pulling a loop wide. When tying the bowline freestanding, the biggest trick is to keep track of where your finished loop will be and not to confuse it with the rabbit's hole. Now for some other variants. The double bowline adds an extra loop in the rabbit hole, creating a round turn for the line to come through. Some rock climbers will use this instead of the standard figure 8 follow through because it keeps its easy to untie abilities even after long falls on the line. I will say that these knots take more dressing to fully cinch than the standard bowline. The water bowline consists of a clove hitch for the rabbit hole and is useful when working in conditions where the line may be wet. My tip for this one is to set up a standard clove hitch, flip it over, and then tie a bowline like normal. If you don't know a clove hitch yet, I'll be teaching it in my next knots video, so keep an eye out. The Yosemite Bowline is a standard bowline with a special finish, unsurprisingly known as a Yosemite finish. It involves an extra round turn and a reeve of the working end to finish the knot. To tie it, tie a bowline with an extra long tail that passes out the back of the loop. Pass the working end through the front of the loop and follow the standing end through the bite at the bottom of the knot. A stopper knot is always a good idea for security. Some sources, such as the Mountaineering Handbook, actually suggest this knot over the figure 8 follow through as well, because again, it's easy to untie after loading, good for wet or frozen conditions, and you can actually tie it with one hand. On that note, the last thing I'll show you today is how to tie a one-handed bowline. The most common way to learn is with a line going all the way around your body, such as this. Take the working end and pass it over the standing end. Sweep the line around your hand to get a loop around your fingers like this, without letting go of the working end. I'll do that again. Sweep the line around your hand to get a loop around your fingers like this, without letting go of the working end. Once there, pass the working end behind the standing end and pinch the working end and the loop in your hand and pull. Here's a slow motion clip of what I did. This is incredibly useful as a rescue device, as after tying, you can actually be hoisted from above by the standing end. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where one hand is incapacitated or needs to be holding on somewhere, someone from above can pass down a line. You can tie a one-handed bowline around yourself, and then they can actually hoist you back up to safety. It will be uncomfortable, but you'll live. And that's it for today. Just remember that learning knots is all about practice, practice, practice. And if you get anything from today, go ahead and learn your bowline with either hand, one hand around the body, eyes closed, all different ways of tying the bowline, and that will make you set in any situation that you need to tie a bowline. I'll see you next time with the clove hitch.